And as you can see, we have Mr. Don Bacon.
Thank you.
Estamos muy contentos que nos acompañen hoy porque está con nosotros el señor Don Bacon, who is running for Congress. And Expresión Latina is a place where we invite people to come, share their ideas. We want for people to understand that it's better to bring people to the table, talk. We may not always agree, right? But at the same time, we need to always give us an opportunity to understand and listen what exactly other people think, other people's views. So with that, after that being said, I'm going to introduce my friends, and I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Sanchez.
Nice to be here again.
And Juan Carlos.
Hello, Saul. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Mr. Bacon, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
I'm very honored to be here. Thank you for the invite.
It is a special day, and you are going to have the opportunity to express your ideas. And as you all know, Mr. Bacon is running for Congress in District 2, and we always like to start giving you the opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us about your background, please.
Well, thank you. I'm Don Bacon, and I worked on a farm until I was 21 years old down in Illinois, and I joined the Air Force at 21. I was a newlywed, so I've been married now 32 years, have 4 kids. But I had 16 assignments in the Air Force, and my highlights in the Air Force is I commanded 5 times. I was commander at Offutt Air Force Base, the base commander. Then I was the base commander at Ramstein Air Base in Germany. I had 3 smaller commands. I did 4 deployments in the Middle East, and also did missile defense for Israel. And I pointed out because we have a record low number of people today that have served in the military in Congress. So we need people to know what the Middle East is about, NATO, and I bring that to the table. But I want to be a good leader, and I want to make progress in some key areas that our country is suffering on. And I want to make sure that our children and grandchildren have the same opportunity for economic, growth, education. And I feel like we're undermining it right now because of bad policies from Washington. And I want to be a leader to make a change. And it's not about being a Republican or Democrat for me. It's about defending our country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your introduction. And how this is going to work, we are going to have 4 small segments talking about 4 different topics. Regular normal topic, economy, immigration, and some other. So we are going to start with the very first topic. Dr. Sanchez is going to introduce the topic.
Very good. I was just reading your plan of government, or your platform, and there were several things that I really like it, and there's one of them that I enjoyed reading once or twice already. A government that overburdens its citizens with regulation, taxes, and debt is jeopardizing our national future. I agree with your statement. Could you explain what you meant by that?
Yeah, we have a federal bureaucracy that's putting out hundreds of new regulations every year. And a lot of times they're being put out separate from any law that was passed from Congress. So our business community, small businesses in particular, our small farmers, our small banks, are having a very hard time to expand because of the cost of these regulations. And the big businesses can do it. They can hire more lawyers, more compliance officers, but the guy that's got 5 people or 10 people, they struggle right now and they can't grow. And so we have to do more to constrain this bureaucracy that's putting out all these regulations. And I am a supporter of something called the REINS Act. The REINS Act says if a federal agency, it could be EPA, or it could be Department of Labor, anything, if they put out a new regulation that has a $100 million impact on the economy, it has to get approval from Congress. And this helps create the checks and balances that our system was made to do. And right now we've lost it. So I want to constrain this bureaucracy. They should be executing laws that Congress passes, not creating their own laws.
Very good. Okay, now the burden of the taxes and all the regulation and everything, is that overburden over the middle class, the working class, or?
It's particularly the middle class, but it's also the small entrepreneur. The person who wants to start a business is very complicated to do. So we want to have an economy that it's more easy for an entrepreneur to get a loan. Right now it's very hard to get a loan in a lot of banks because of the Dodd-Frank laws that were passed. If you're a big guy, you can get these loans. But the small guys having it harder and harder. And we want to be able to open up more businesses on 24th Street or the neighboring community, but we make it very hard. Now our economy is growing at 1.5% GDP. It's the lowest growth since 1949, coming out of a recession. And it's because the small businesses are struggling. So I want to make it easier, the environment easier to do so. I'll say even on a bigger level though, our business tax is the highest in the free world. So it makes it hard for us to compete in Canada, overseas, and we should want our businesses to be on a level playing field, because I think Americans know how to work hard, we're innovators, and if we put our folks on a level playing field, we do well. But our own government's making us go uphill. That's wrong.
By the way, you mentioned the growth rate is about 1.2. Didn't you say that?
About 1.5
Well,
roughly.
I just read a few days ago, because I do read the Wall Street Journal and other newspapers. It says at 3.2.
Well, that's the last month, but if you take the year average, it's 1.6.
Oh, the average, there you go.
Yes.
So
So
the
the end of this
average,
year is 1.6.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, we had a good last month bump up. So,
We'll keep having more months like that.
yeah, I hope so
That's
too.
always good.
We always wish to have a good economy.
Now, what about the top 1% or corporations? Do you think they're paying their taxes as they should?
I think generally, what I support is less deductions and carve-outs. I'd rather lower the rates and then remove a lot of these deductions that people use to get out, so that it's a fairer and a simpler system. But if you look overall, our corporate taxes are the highest in the free world. And so right now,
How's that? What is it?
our corporate tax is 35%.
Okay.
And if you throw in state, it's 39%. That's the average, because each state's a little different.
Good.
Canada is 15%. Ireland, 12.5%. The average in Europe is 23%. And I would like to get our rates down to 20 or thereabouts, and then remove a lot of those deductions. Because some businesses get a lot of deductions, others don't. So we have corporations in Omaha, I've been there, they're paying 30%. They're not getting these deductions everybody talks about.
Actually, do corporations pay 35% in the United States?
Well, that's the starting rate, but I've been to corporations, when you take all their deductions, they're down to 30. 30 is still higher than 15% from Canada.
Yeah. Okay, so actually what you're saying is true. It's a fact. You know, on paper,
Yeah.
the law says 35%. The United States is paying
Right.
35%, supposed to be the highest, right after, I believe, Japan.
Okay.
But in actuality, the thing is, not everybody pays 35%.
Right.
Okay, because you know that. So actually, the average effective, this is what we call the average effective corporate tax rate is less than that.
Right.
In other words, if we're going to go by the average number, the United States only paid 21.1%.
But yeah, we have corporations here in town are paying 30.
Some corporations don't pay anything.
Right.
That's true, right?
That's why I think we should remove a lot of the deductions and lower the rate.
Well,
So that it's
you're
more
right,
level.
because you're exactly right. So all this 35%
Right.
minus deductions and credits, it goes down.
Yeah.
So as a matter of fact, it goes down to 21.1%. And if that's happened, the most countries, you know, there's 35 countries altogether in this club. Let's call it a club. Chile is in there. And what happened is, with all those deductions and everything else, the highest pay, the average pay is 21.7. Most of those 34 countries, with the exception of the United States, 21.1. If you're going by that, basically the United States is paying less than anybody else. And this is not because I just said it, or
Right.
because I just read in any place on the internet or books or anything like that. This is according to the Congressional Research Service.
The effective rate, right?
Yeah, the effective rate.
So I'd rather take it that as the rate at 20% and remove those deductions. But we have corporations paying 30%, and they're struggling. So there's imbalanced.
You know, I have to agree with you. If we can do that,
Right.
you know, less deductions, loopholes, everything else,
Make it level.
I would have to say good luck. Why? Is because you have an army. You have an army of 25,000 lobbyists. Those
yes.
people make things happen. We vote,
You're a nice target.
but they get their way.
Right.
So it's impossible to dream what you're just saying.
But my goal is to be that advocate for our country, because I think there's something broke when we have a 78,000 page tax law.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Completely agree with you.
I think it's just ridiculous. It's broke.
That needs to be changed by both parties.
And I don't disagree, there are some corporations paying hardly nothing.
Zero.
I would rather have a more level rate, simple, very few deductions, and leave it so that so it is about 20% for everybody. But I will tell you, we have corporations in this town that are paying at 30%. They got 5% deduction.
Yeah.
Because that's the best they could do. But that makes it unfair. And they compete against Canada.
It is amazing that, yes, and it's true, a lot of these corporations don't even pay anything. And I could name it, but I don't think we have the time to do those things.
Right.
And the thing is, corporations, they always have lawyers, they know how. And they'll use the system, and then question is, who makes those laws? Congress people.
78,000 pages.
Most of them are what? Lawyers.
Right.
And the lobbies.
And the lobbyists work with them. So that's what I'm saying. Good luck if we don't have any lawyers here.
Thank goodness. No.
So it's I think it's very important. I don't like your answer, but I think in essence, it's actually corporations are not paying as much as other countries in this 35. So that's the essence of the whole thing. So yes, you're right. So well, we have the highest rate, yes, but actually, in actuality,
Right.
we pay less than anybody else.
But I just
And
have to counter the point.
But the thing,
Some are, though. That's
Sir,
my concern.
But that comes from the Congressional Research Service. And look, and lots of people are going to say, what is that? Okay, the Congressional Research Service works exclusively to the United States Congress, providing policy and legal analysis to committee and members of both House and Senate, regardless of party affiliation. That means that's where you're going to get
If you take that average,
information.
some are paying over. That, and I don't think it's fair to them. That would be my whole point. Because I think what Congress is doing, these lobbyists are doing, they're playing favorites. If you do this, you do that, do this, you're going to get deductions.
Absolutely. Right.
But the other corporation that doesn't have that, and they're competing unfairly against the Canadians and the Irish.
That's why I think that needs to be a reform.
That's why we all.
Okay, now we're in sync.
We all agree that we need a level playing here. I mean, we
It is.
need to be
Why is because
all on the same page.
The middle class is
on
paying so
making
much.
sure that we all.
The working class and middle class is spending so much. I mean, that's why we have Sanders. That's why we have.
My friend, we need to move to my next
That's why we have
topic now.
Trump. Okay.
Let's go on to the next one.
The next one is
Immigration
okay.
is a hot topic, and you are with Latinos in here, Mexico, Peru, Chile, and
Americans, obviously.
our audience is all Hispanic. This is what you said in your webpage. Mr. Bacon is opposed to giving amnesty to illegal immigrants and President Obama and constitutional power grab.
That's for citizenship.
Explain.
Yeah. So I don't think we should do amnesty for citizenship for those who didn't come in like other folks try to do legally, going through their embassy. I want a fair process that people are doing it the fair way. Now, I think we need to work on securing the border, but really it's about employer enforcement. If we can come up and reduce the number of each year, I would then like to provide a pathway for legalization for those who are here working, taking care of themselves. So I don't consider that amnesty, though. I consider if we can find a pathway to legalization for those who are here, and at the same time fix our immigration problem so that it's a legal way to do it. It's easier to do it legally. So that's my way ahead. When I talk about amnesty, there's people trying to do it right, and I want to respect that. There's people who've waited 10 years to do it right. So that's where that term comes in for me.
Right. Sometimes we tend to think about all the rhetoric that we hear.
Yeah.
We say this in a very respectful way, and as you say, we can disagree in a moment on this. The undocumented population in the United States give every single year to the economy of the United States 12 billion.
Right.
And I'm talking about the undocumented people.
Right.
Okay, people who are here. They give this $12 billion to this economy. In Nebraska, we are 190,000 Latinos in the state of Nebraska.
Right.
Out of those, there's an undocumented population. Now, eligible to vote in Nebraska, you have 69,000 Latinos who are eligible to vote. This message, when you read it at first, it put people against you, Latino, from the Latino perspective, because we want someone who understands what the problem is. We all know that they need to be, we need a reform. We all know that. We cannot keep with this system because it's obsolete. So what we want to hear is a message of, we understand. Number one, recognition of this community values and the contribution to the whole society. That's number one. And number two, because of that, this is what we offer to you guys. We know that we want to fix it. We want to fix it. How would you fix this problem?
Well, first of all, we do need to handle it in a respectful manner, and I totally agree with you there. I see three facets to the immigration question. First of all, our legal immigration is very heavy, it's slow. I think it's hard for people to get here.
It's like decades.
Right, and we need people that can want to come in and they want to work for a season perhaps, then go back home. We've made it very hard to have an agile, so I'd like to fix that. I would like to be more agile with our legal immigration and make them, so folks that come in, they go back home if they want. So we got to fix it, because that's part of the root of the illegal side or the undocumented side, is because our legal side is so cumbersome. So I would be willing to work on that, make it easier. Now, I think we do have to realize, though, that between 300,000 and 400,000 undocumented folks arriving here a year, a lot of it's overstayed visas, and it's all over the world. It's not one country, I understand that. But that's more than the United States Air Force. I don't think that our country can assimilate that year in and year out. So I want to work on fixing that. I believe you do that through employer enforcement, E-Verify. And if we could get that agreement, I believe that the 12 million or so who are here undocumented, that we can then find a legalization pathway, that if their folks are working, they're taking care of their families, they're good neighbors. Let's find a legal pathway for legalization so folks can work, they don't have to hide, they can be part of the society, their children will become citizens. So I feel like that's a compromise that will speaks to all part of our country, because our country wants to have security, but yet I think we should be compassionate for those who are already here.
Yeah. Let me question you a short question. Do you think we need a wall?
No, I would only say,
Do you think it's going to fix the
No.
immigration problem, a wall?
folks come here for jobs and they want to send money home, and I'm on record for saying you could build a wall a mile high and a mile deep, and you have to fix the root of the problem.
That's right.
And I believe that's why I say employer enforcement is important. But I don't think you can do that all by itself. You need to have a compassionate way ahead for those who are already here.
Let's talk at the local level. In Nebraska, what undocumented people give to the economy in the state is 42 million a year. Undocumented people working. This is hardworking people.
And I agree with you. Folks are hardworking.
Now, if there is an option to these people to be legalized, okay, there are two things in here, Mr. Bacon. One is the cabinet path to citizenship. That's one thing, and the other thing is the option to these people get a work permit and working here, and because these people are giving to the economy already. In your plan, you don't include the citizenship. Now, let me tell you this. While that is very important for many Latinos, many other Latinos, all they want is get out of the shadow.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
all they want.
Right.
Let me get out of the shadow, let me work, let me keep giving to this community.
I appreciate that. I think I have understood that this last couple of years as I got in this process. So that's why I think legalization, if we can fix the root cause of the problem, then legalization is a compassionate way ahead. But I also think it's fair, because I think we want to respect a process for people to come here to become citizens. There should be but that everybody follows the same process to become citizen, and I don't think we want to short circuit that. But we have to also be compassionate for those who are already here working. So I think I'm trying to provide what I think is a balanced, good compromise. I think it's one that you can get people on the right and left to agree to, and we can move forward on.
How about DAPA and DACA?
I think if we could fix the root cause of the problem, I would be willing to have the discussion at DACA. But
And what would be the root, the cause?
it gets back to employer enforcement. If we can fix the root cause of a broken legal immigration system, and we have a way ahead, then I think then we can compassionately address the DACA issue. I think what concerns most people, I'm just being honest with you, if you make provisions right now and don't fix the root cause of the problem, then you got to do it next year, then you got to do it the next year. So I think it's good to try to fix the problem, and then we deal with it, and then I think you can get agreement in this country and a good consensus to do the compassionate thing for those who are already here.
There's another topic, I think.
I like that
yeah,
word,
very good.
because when we like that word, compassion, that is what we want to hear, because
Right.
that is That's why we are here. You have this immigrant, this immigrant, this
Right.
immigrant working for this community and being able to make it, and we want that opportunity for everybody else who is out there too.
Well, thank you.
And that's going to take us to the next subject,
Okay.
which is a little bit more focused on compassion.
Okay?
And we want to know a little bit more about your stand when it comes to reaching out to the Latino community. And I want to say this, I am really impressed today. I didn't have the opportunity to go through all the information pertaining to your campaign, but I'm really impressed with getting to know you today. And but I believe that you have a desire, a very positive desire to do things that will bring a positive outcome for everyone. And but now the question is, how do you see yourself working with the Latino community? What do you want to do to reach out to the Latino community when we have, unfortunately, this election has been really an election that has diminished, insulted
I don't like the insults either.
the Latino
Yeah.
community, and we understand. And let me tell you, I believe that the Latinos understand everything that you said. You know, that there needs to be something done right. That there needs to be a system in place.
There should be a
that
balanced answer.
respecting law and order those are critical subjects among Latinos as well, right? But I also like the fact that you use the word compassion. What are you doing in order to reach out to the Latino community?
Well, getting back to your one point, and I'll come back to compassion. I do think that both sides of our political discussion, one side wants to go just over here, and the other side wants to do just over here. But I don't think you can do that unless you do sort of both together. And I think that's how you're going to get the compromise. That's my view. Now, my background is I am first and foremost a Christian. I believe that, you know, we're all created by God. We're all made in His image. We're all special beings. We're miracles in my mind. So that defines how I see other people. And I believe in the promise of our country that we're all created equal and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. I think that we haven't achieved it, but that is the goal. So that's what drives me. Now, for working, I want to represent the entire community. And I would even say, if I am blessed enough to win, and even if I didn't get a single vote in whatever part of town, I would want to do my best to represent that area. So it's not even about the votes. It's about doing the right thing. So I will build a team in our office to begin with. I'll have folks dedicated to work in South Omaha that are from this community, that understand it. I've been campaigning here. I've gone to most of the businesses' doors. I've tried to go to churches. That's why I'm here tonight. I'm trying to reach out to the best I know how. And if I'm doing it inadequately, I will learn and try to do it better. So my goal is to walk the talk. And I come from a perspective that I realize I'm a farm kid, military guy. There's broader things I need to learn, but I'm willing to learn. I'm going to get in there and try my best. But I want to represent everybody. So when I was doing door-to-door here, I learned that affordable health care is the number one issue. 2 is education. That's not necessarily the same in other parts of the town, but it was important for me to know that South Omaha, those 2 issues were rated very high.
Yes.
And security,
Yeah.
and not necessarily all international security. Sometimes it's local security. That was the 3rd issue I picked up on. So I will try my best to represent everybody. And I know everybody's concerns are a little unique, and I want to know the unique concerns here.
As well, yeah. No, you have a lot of work to do
4 more
when it
minutes?
comes to.
Perhaps
One more topic.
One topic.
You want to jump on
As a
another
matter of fact, you just mentioned that.
Yeah.
Healthcare.
Right.
Okay, and this is what you wrote on your topic. Repeal Obamacare and work to reduce healthcare costs with free market solutions. Free market solutions. I understand. If I want to, use the free markets to be able to buy or sell a pair of shoes, it's completely different than what you do with health. Health is different. Without shoes, you get cold. Without health, you can die.
Right.
And you know that we used to have, I think there was about 48 million people without insurance at one time, maybe 2014 or so, or maybe before that. After the Obamacare, let's call it Obamacare, like most people know.
I call it the Affordable Care Act.
Okay, that's a good way. It's 27 uninsured right now. Okay, so the thing is, this is what I've been. Obviously, I have been reading and learning because I'm a doctor and medical stuff. I'm okay.
We mess with the doctor on this discussion.
Yeah, and so the thing is. The universal care was not a democratic idea. It was not. It was a Republican or conservative idea.
But I would say it was one of the Republicans' ideas. I would say it was shared by all Republicans.
Yeah.
So I got to push back just a little bit.
Sure. The Heritage Foundation is the one that started with that idea.
Yeah.
Then after that, then we have Mitt Romney, former governor.
Massachusetts.
Yes. So it was an idea. Truly, that was a good idea when the Republicans were talking about.
I think it was a good idea for the state level. I opposed it at the federal level. I think those states have the ability to do different things, and I support federalism. I support the 10th Amendment. That states should be the main drivers for this. I oppose the federal government takeover of directing how we're going to do our health care. I don't want a federal bureaucrat writing our health care plans.
I liked your thought about that, but at the same time, if we're gonna think about how many minutes we have, two.
Just 1 minute.
1 minute. You know, we were talking about the Germany,
Right.
universal health, but they have both government and private. I mean, you can work ways to be able to get the benefit for most people, and that's what that's
Right.
what we actually
Well, if I
requested.
I would say I was not totally just for the repeal of the ACA. I'm for the replacement of it. You can't walk away from people. You have to have pre-existing coverage capabilities, and so it's not an all or nothing thing. I don't want Washington D.C. to be the center of our healthcare policy directions. The main thing, and I'll just tell you there is a place for market-based reforms. So, for example, Governor Ricketts had to get an MRI. He has a health savings account. If I got my facts right, I think I got this right. So he called 3 different places,
Yep.
found only half the price of the most expensive one. And so he was able to go with one that was half the price.
Okay.
If we had a little more of that, we could hold down prices. We need more competition.
Let me answer to that question. Fine, but the universal health system, what it does, prevention. That's exactly what I do now. Prevention, to prevent those people to get an MRI for anything. So if you prevent, you're going to have less number of people utilizing MRI, CT, because that's what we do that because we have to. Anyways, I'm sorry we have more time.
I want to defend against that, though.
This is a wonderful discussion. This is so great, and we really need more time to do this.
Perhaps he can come back.
I would love to come back.
We'll just give him with the
My
conversation.
promise to you is I will be accessible all the way through. I want to. And it's how we learn. I love the discussions.
Perfect. Thank you for being here. Our friends, thank you for being with us today, and it's been an honor having the opportunity to talk with Don Bacon, and hope that you had a very good opportunity to really make up your mind and really think about what he has proposed, and certainly our work here at Expresión Latina is to make sure that you have access to this information. And we want a better community. Latinos, we are for better communities, and we want to do good to this nation. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
It's fun.
Perfect.